because she's full time. She's really a doctor. Like she'll talk about the release. I'll put an off in the hospital and then come if it's releasing this week. This is stories that are told at home where your granny normally tells you these tales. This is that tale.
First, because I'm not part of this world, my opportunities are limited. And so I have to make my own opportunities.
Just to discuss numbers, and most of those numbers aren't true or anything.
Yeah.
They're just poster type communication. If you had to really get into rechecking that stuff and it was illegal to put it, then trust me, a lot of numbers won't be out there.
Hi Rana, hi Praveena.
Hello Sangeetha, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the studio. And I happened to watch Kothapallilo Okappudu. And I don't want to give away spoilers, but I'll tell you that you have a very interesting film on hand. In fact, the advantage of having a screener link is that you can go back and revisit a few parts. And then I discovered all the more the very subtle way in which everything builds up to the larger picture. There's so much of subtext. It looks very simple at the surface, but there's so much going on, right?
I'm so happy. And very rarely we get to do chats where people have watched the film and have a full deep conversation about the movie. So I'm glad you got to see it.
My pleasure. Even before I get to Kothapallilo Okappudu, I want to take you back to 2018, okay? When Praveena, a cardiologist from New York, comes to you with Venkatesh Maha, with a very indie film, and tells you that they met your father and then and you took it up to present it. In a way, I think long after A Belly Full of Dreams, that was the first film where you said Rana Daggubati presents, right? What was that first meeting like?
Well, see, so good that you know me from Belly Full of Dreams in some ways.
Yeah.
Where I always thought that independent cinema needs a voice. And in this large mainstream way of how we communicate movies, this kind of gets lost. And I was like, and I met Belly Full of Dreams in 2005, and with knowing so much, having so much behind in terms of infrastructure and others, I couldn't even release that movie. We didn't know what to do, a distribution of a sort. And I was like, what do we do with this movie? Put it in a theatre? I'm like, yeah. And then nobody came. So the only way we made money was Doordarshan paid us 50 lakhs because we won a national award, right? So it was like, okay, which means that, does that cinema not have a voice? Was really where I was seeing. And I think time passed, I've moved on from that and visual effects to being an actor. I've been doing films across the place. There's a much more larger conversation about cinema. Festivals have become slightly more popular than what they were back in the day. And at that time, my dad called me, he's like, hey, this is a film that you normally don't want to make or talk about. I said, and I saw it and I was like, okay, it's so beautifully done first. And it tells a part of our culture in an entertaining fashion.
Yeah.
So somewhere Belly Full of Dreams was not so entertaining or didn't hit a mainstream beat. And I was like, okay, now this could be independent cinema with a voice which is entertaining, it's engaging, doesn't follow any of these mainstream rules, but yet is a very heartwarming story. So I think that's the reason I put my name back again on a film and said, okay, this is a direction. And I was so happy that film worked so beautifully. It's people like Praveena, Maha, who you normally don't meet in the movies. You've been interviewing people for so long. This group doesn't come by, right?
Yeah.
And I was just so happy that we could be part and do what we did. And after that, there's been a stream of films in that independent circuit. We built this company, Spirit Media, again, after Belly Full of Dreams, to say, let's just make cinema that stands with a voice, has something to say apart from just standard commercial storytelling.
How did life change for you drastically after Care of Kancharapalam?
Life didn't change for me.
She went back to being a doctor. So.
Because I really wasn't here in Hyderabad or anything. So life was just life for me. So. But it was nice. I mean, it was nice to, people would recognize me in the middle of New York, in the village, Dublin airport, It got a little annoying because a lot of the shops on the highways and stuff a lot of Telugu people are there. And so any place there was a Telugu person, they would notice me and I'm like, no, I'm not that person. So koncham recognition ochindi, but otherwise life is routine. In the beginning, it got a little uncomfortable because I keep my life as a doctor very separate from my life as in movies. I think that's going to be more difficult after this one. So like people would try to contact me at the hospital, and that was a little bit uncomfortable. But otherwise, life was routine for me after both of the films. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you produced Uma Maheshwarar Ugra Rupasya as well.
With Shobhu sir.
Yeah, with Shobhu sir.
Yeah.
And then you went back and just devoted yourself completely to medical profession for a couple of years during the pandemic.
It was because of the pandemic. Yeah. We just finished UMUR at the end of February, February 2020. I just went back February 27th. Lockdown in the US was like March something, and it was bad.
Okay. Yeah. And what was it about Kothapallilo Okappudu that made you take a sabbatical and say, okay, I have to, devote time and then take up direction as well?
Oh, so I didn't take a sabbatical. I continued to practice.
You kept working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to. I continued to work as a doctor. I am working as a doctor right now. Kothapallilo, as I mentioned, it was very random. So, Care of Kanchapalem, in a way, indirectly, I met it because of a lady named Aparna Malladi, who has since passed.
Yeah.
And she really mentored a lot of the young new age directors. So I had met her through the internet. And unfortunately, I had no intention of coming back to India or traveling during the 2022, 2023 time period. But she got sick again. And I really wanted to see her. And so I came, and then someone that worked on UMUR introduced me to the story. And I thought it was interesting. And I was kind of divided back and forth. The character of Ramakrishna kind of stuck with me, even though the initial narration of the story wasn't around him. It was more about something a little bit more esoteric. But Ramakrishna stood with me, and I didn't know who to cast for Ramakrishna. That was one of the issues. Kanchapalem appudu avsaram kotta valto chestam, and also it was kind of exciting for me coming from America to work with non-actors, like Meera Nair and Rajneesh Domalpalli. They used people off the street, workshop them. I found that as a filmmaking technique to be very exciting. Ippudu avakasam undi to work with somebody new, but I thought it was limiting to the storytelling. And I didn't know who I would. And I randomly bumped into Ramakrishna in New York. And when I met him, I was like, this literally is Ramakrishna. And then I felt very, very kind of excited and a challenge to take this guy that I met who looked very different, but there was something in the core that matched the character, and then to go forward. So it was really that challenge.
Okay. At what point did the film come to you? Did you see it after it was completely done, or was there like a discussion even when it was in production?
Oh no, I saw it only much later.
Okay.
I think just some sound and others weren't done, but I think pretty much I saw the completed film only. And
okay.
And I was pretty happy. I was like, okay, now, like it's like, I mean, you've seen the film, so it's so honest and simple, and it's about simple people.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, it speaks about belief in such a different manner.
Yeah.
Like, and see, today you underline belief in a very different way. All belief starts at such a bare basic level.
Yeah.
And I think this film tells it in such a human way. It doesn't complicate. It's a very complicated subject. And if you have to talk about that subject of belief, and it gets into religious connotations, it'll get into too wide a discussion.
Yeah.
But this film tells it very sweetly and simply. And I thought that was really the merit of what Kothapalli was. And I was pretty excited. I was like, Praveena made a movie and came back. And I find their lives very fascinating. Now she's a full-time doctor and making movies. Now I think cinema is that in some ways. It's everybody is passionate to tell a story. It doesn't matter where, in which field you're in. Because she's full-time, she's really a doctor. Like she'll talk about the release, I'll put an off in the hospital and then come if it's releasing this week. So I was like, okay, which I find very endearing. And the fact that whether it's her, whether it's the Ramakrishna who played the lead, like, they're not from here, but then they tell stories about such rural stories about our land, which is in a way that the whole world can understand.
Yeah.
See, it's because she comes from this global exposure. I think there's an understanding that's very simple and easy, where a filmmaking language is quite global.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I just feel like that's an exciting thing for.
Do you think that also gives them an edge in the sense that, they are not doing this 365 days a year, so they can look at things from a very different perspective?
I think so. No, I think that's what it is. I'm saying they see it from a different lens.
Yeah.
And also because I guess they're cut off from culture in a very different way than we are. They see it very differently. They value it very differently. The willingness to learn is much higher.
Yeah.
So I think all of that comes from I don't like their culture or their growing up.
Okay.
So I think it's a great lens to look at ourselves, and I think cinema like this needs to keep becoming some part of our mainstream world.
Post-pandemic, there's been a lot of talk about how people come only for action entertainers or like those big, larger-than-life experiences and so on and so forth. But every now and then there are films that prove that no, people will come for watching something else. 35 itself is a beautiful example, right? And then Kamiti Kurralu. There's been so many examples in the recent past. At least last year, there was a handful of films. What gives you the confidence and the courage to say that let's take it to the theatres? This is not an OTT film.
See, one is, I believe any cinema is consumed or any story is told best on a big screen because you are paying attention and watching something.
Yeah.
It's not on a laptop on your stomach and you're not dragging, dropping or doing any other things on it, right? And when you tell a story which has something to say, it's not, it's still talking to you about beliefs. Now, there is no other way to listen to it nicely than a big screen.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, right from when we did Kancharapalam or till today, when so many more films have happened, we've done films in other languages. We did a film called All We Imagine As Light in India, which was so different, and like we picked it up because it was Malayalam-ish, but then it ran better in North India. So we did. So there's an audience that wants this. That audience is quite underserved. So we said, let's not get into these numbers of box office and others. Let's find proper theatre timing where there is enough cinema available or enough times available in cinemas for things like this. You don't need a very large release. You need a lot of people to watch it.
Yeah.
Whether it's today in screens as much as possible, tomorrow in the OTT. So it's going to be consumed. And I think it's a film that will stay for a much longer period of time and they'll age very beautifully.
Yeah.
So I don't I'm saying Kancharapalam, we'll talk about it today. Much more than many films that have come that year.
True.
And they stay relevant.
Yeah.
So, and I think these things age beautifully. And I think as time goes by with big visual effects, AI becoming such a big part of our life, scale will be in everyone's hands.
Yeah.
And only human stories is what we will resonate with because that is so human made. It's a human lens on human thought. So I think that cinema will always be special. And I just feel like we just have to make a habit out of it.
Okay.
And all the films that we've done were all successful.
Yeah.
It's unlike any other distribution company where you have so much failure with the number of films you pick. So you know that it's got a voice. Like we did a Kannada film, Charlie, which was Rakshit's film.
Yeah.
Now, who would imagine that film ran for like some 8 weeks in the theatres?
Yeah.
Because people kept coming back to watch it. So I think this cinema is different from what you'll every day see, what you'll see for a large opening. I mean, that's different. This is different. This is this is stories that are told at home, where your granny normally tells you these tales. This is that tale.
Yeah. I mean, you also took up Parishan, which was entertaining.
Yeah.
But on the other side, you've also taken a film like 23, 23, which is like very hard-hitting and a social drama, but a very relevant story that many of us don't know enough about or don't think enough about. And there was also Bapu and all that.
Yes.
Right. So when you pick up all these films, do you look for films that have a slightly artistic streak in them or like an art house streak in them?
Not an art house streak. I think to me it's a voice in some manner.
Okay.
A very distinctive voice, right? There is, like we produced a film called Virat Parum, which is not so big at the box office, but there's so much acclaim and people speak about that film for so much longer period of time. Now it had a certain voice. There's a reason, the why of that film is very clear. And whether there's a filmmaker who wants to tell something to a large group of people, which is not hero worship, which is not unbelievable things that happen, but it's something that is very human, that forms your thought process. And I think that's what this cinema does. Does it? And see, we come from a certain culture. Like for me, this street is my culture. I grew up in Filmnagar. Whatever happened here was my growing up.
Yeah.
So for me, finding culture that happened around and being able to showcase it on the big screen means something. See, like Pareshan is a great example that you took. Now, it's such a unique story. I mean, if you go by plot, that's not a story that you normally pick up. I mean, it's a very different style of storytelling.
Yeah.
But you get to meet people that normally you'll never see them on screen. In a larger commercial film.
Yeah.
They will probably be underlined to extreme humor, or there will be some functionality of a plot, but you'll never meet them as people. And I think that's what variety is. India is so beautiful, it's got so much variety and life. And I think this cinema is the only way you can see or meet people like that.
Okay. Tell me about the making of this film itself, because you've handled more than one job. You've acted in the film and you've directed it and you've produced it. You've trained a whole bunch of newcomers as well. There are seasoned actors, there are also absolute newcomers. How did you go about juggling the different hats?
There's no option. So when there's no option, you just, there's a saying that the only way out is through. And in terms of making movies, actually, Rana Garu said something. He said two things that have actually stuck with me. He was at Comic-Con, and that was an amazing moment as an American and a Telugu person to see a Telugu film premiere or be announced at Comic-Con. It's like a huge deal in Hollywood, and they were all there on stage. And he was generous enough to invite me there and for lunch. And I think somebody had asked, same thing, you have all these hats, why do you do it, what's your favorite or something? And he just said, it doesn't matter, he just loves films. And just being a part of anything that's a good film or a good story is all that's enough. And I think I feel the same way. First, because I'm not part of this world, my opportunities are limited. And so I have to make my own opportunities. So that's the first thing. I mean, that was the first thing behind Kothapallilo or something. It's not like somebody's going to come to me and say, hey, I'm going to give you some money. Why don't you go produce a film? Or, hey, I think you're really talented. Why don't you go direct a film? First and foremost, it's I have to make my own opportunity. So that is as a producer and as a director. In terms of the acting, the same thing. It's the type of film that I gravitate towards, which is that film is a way to relate to people and to also understand myself. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to make these, preachy films. It's just that I want to be able to relate to the characters on screen. And I think at some level, even in America or even in the West, anywhere, just the features of the actors and actresses are kind of blending into one. I don't know, because of plastic surgery, because of we're kind of selecting one type of feature, that they're all becoming kind of homogenous. So I really specifically look for faces that are very characteristic, that have something in them. There's no such thing as ugly or beauty. It's about how the camera likes that face. And some people are blessed with the camera liking their face. I think Andam is one of those individuals. The camera loves her face. She has beautiful symmetry. And once again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So that's number one. And then acting and what I believe is acting, I really respect acting as a profession, as an art form, as a skill. And it's my first love. And then to be able to get that performance, to get actors to live that character is very important for me. And so that's where all the other things come, because I'm very, very obsessive about that. I hate it when newcomers are, and that's why it's, in a way, I like to work with newcomers, because their head is relatively empty.
So you can mold them according to how you want.
Yes, to mold them into the character. But at the same time, I also see the benefit of working with individuals who are already professional, not professional, but experienced, because you can just get that take. They get into the character, you explain the character, and they get into that take. So there's a bit of both. Working with newcomers is a huge risk and a huge time and effort. Going forward, I think I might be less and less, because it takes a lot out of me to get that.
And you said she's a police constable.
So she comes from some kind of military or
her family.
No. Her family is a military background, but she herself is like in some kind of police cadet training.
Okay.
So she's very formidable in the way she walks and talks and
Nice.
And so transforming her into a village girl and transforming Ramakrishna, his actual name is Manoj, but he'll always be Ramakrishna.
Okay.
From the city boy that's been traveled internationally into a Uru boy. Ironically, the American had to do it.
Yeah.
So I had to teach both of them how to be Uru. So yeah.
I really like the closure that you gave for the character. I really don't want to discuss it now, but it was like very beautiful, very subtle, but it's
See,
kind
like
of,
the way this beauty was, it didn't matter who was the seasoned actor, who wasn't,
yeah,
because they all belong to that world,
true.
right?
Yeah.
And like I'm saying, see, like whether it's like Banerjee was just
Banerjee.
like felt like he was there, like
Or even Ravindra Vijay.
oh 100%. Like to me, he'll stand out to be a favorite, and I think he will also be a crowd favorite. He's a meme by himself.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Right? Like from his intro, you just like this guy. You know, he's crazy.
Yeah.
You hate him, but you like him because he is so hated. And I think that just they were all unique people.
Yeah.
And you wanted to, whatever story they're part of, you want to listen to. So to me, that was what was exciting about this film the first time I saw
See,
it.
when you choose films that you want to distribute and say, you know, this is like a Spirit Media presentation or a Rana Daggubati presentation, you are not like a traditional distributor who only sees the end product and says, shall we say yes or no to this, right? You're also an actor, producer. You come with your own expertise in films. So do you also have like test screenings, and then do you also suggest saying, can we edit it this way, or can we sort of polish it in this way?
There is some creative stuff that goes on up and down. So till the film is not out, it's not out.
Okay.
Like it's between a close group of people. And I think we've been lucky enough for all of these films that there's been enough of close group that gave comments or others, but ultimately it's the director or the filmmaker's choice that finally goes out.
Okay.
Because it's a voice that I believe that we don't know how to make, that's hence it's come to us, and it's somebody else's life lived. So there enough people will pick up some stuff from it, all from it, but so I remember like there's one thing that we have at every point of time where before a release of a film, I will give you a bunch of things saying this is what we think is going to happen or not, based on past experiences. But always I'd love to be wrong.
Okay.
So because ultimately it's a surprise, right? You don't know what audience will pick up what, and I think after All We Imagine Is Light, I stopped even guessing that. Like how do you imagine a Malayalam film does collects mostly in Delhi?
Yeah.
Like so. You know,
and it's a very global film, right after Cannes. It just got picked up everywhere.
It collected the least in Kerala.
Okay.
Like Karnataka did much more than that. So I don't have a math to this. There is some audience that will resonate with. We just have to keep finding them film on film. Okay. In Telugu, we have a reasonable sense of it because we've been doing films like this, and there have also been others making some films in this foray. So I think there is some sense of where we are. Tamil, much more actually. Malayalam is an industry that makes this cinema very mainstream. So I think it's interesting. No, every film you get to see different audiences, different people resonate from it. But what I've consistently seen is they age very beautifully. Like over time, they will always be spoken about. And for everyone who's seen it, that will make them think or change or do something in their lives that this film will connect to. So I think that's been our journey of.
Is there a method to the madness of choosing the films that you want to distribute? Because I'm sure apart from the films that you've distributed, there would have been others who would have approached you.
Yeah. Which we don't normally do. See, there would be other films that definitely will make you a lot more revenue if you distribute them. And there's a certain mainstream world that is. And Asian and Suresh Productions are part of that cycle in a very, and that's the classic form. So I think if we're here to curate, and there's so many filmmakers that tell so many voices, but we're just being a platform for the top few. Like here you go, okay, this is really an independent voice, and which is why we don't have a set system. It's not like we do one film a month or we do one film a year. It'll sometimes be a bunch of films and then quiet for some time because it's not so easy to find them also. There's some films that are still working in post getting done, but so we don't hurry them up. We said, okay, let's get the product right and only then step out.
Okay.
So it's not exactly the best business to do if you have to run an office. But
and it will also involve a little bit of a waiting period to see that there are no other clashing films or the big films which will drown out this voice, right?
See, I'm saying it's very hard to. I'm saying that you need to have that capacity to hold it for a while to get the maximum reach it can get.
Okay. Tell me about why you wanted an LA-based cinematographer to shoot this and not somebody from India, because the color schemes are very different. Okay, it's like, I mean, there's a very earthy tone, and then you find a turquoise blue, the bike, somebody's wearing a blue shirt, or the window panes are in blue. There are so many little things that you can notice, and it's simple. It's not over romanticizing a rural atmosphere.
Cinema, not content. It's very important to keep that distinction, I think, as we go forward. Cinema is a visual form of storytelling, so I'm very visual. And it's very, very important for me that the visuals are not just pretty, but that they're communicating the world, the story, the theme, the emotion for that particular scene. So color palette, color design, production design, and costume design that come as an extension of all of that, I'm very obsessive about. There's a different, those specific areas I've learned are viewed a little differently in India, and that works here for sure. So that was a bit of a challenge for the first two films, but even Venkatesh Maha has the same kind of sensibility. So, and especially shooting in a village, I found that because like say Indian cinematographers grow up here, they have a certain eye that they look at these landscapes. I'm looking at them very differently. And I wanted to show the audience what I'm seeing. Like, for some reason, not for some reason, I just find myself much more in love with the village. And I see beauty everywhere. Kanchirapalam, at the end of the day, is, I guess not, it's a slightly lower socio-demographic area, but the houses are so picturesque with their colors. And then depending on where you put the camera, you just get these beautiful there's just so much depth, multi-level, multi-layered compositions. And you just have to have that eye. And I'm not saying that that eye doesn't exist here in India. It exists in different, what do you call it, for different films. But maybe Namura cinema in a village, I wanted to do something differently. Otherwise, it's just going to be like the other two. And the one thing that I really, really, really was insistent on was having a foreign cinematographer. I'm not saying that they're better than Indian cinematographers. It's just that for me, making another film in the village in relatively the same locale, I wanted to show you something differently. That was number one. Number two, at the end of the day, even though this film is about everyday people, all of which are shades of gray, because we are all shades of gray. We all have good and bad in us, but it does talk about belief, which is above humans, right? It's a concept that's beyond human thought. So I wanted to shoot it in an epic format and in CinemaScope. And that also was really important because I wanted to capture the landscape, that the people are still small in this huge landscape, that we as human beings are small. So for all of those concepts and to translate them and to communicate them, I just felt it easier with an American. And I'm sorry to say that, but it was just a matter of, communication is still very difficult for me, especially when I'm communicating concepts. So it was really awkward and weird and strange when I just happened to say, "Hi Rana, I'm in town, are you around? I wanted to show you something." He's like, "Yeah, come on, I'm going to be back in town like a little later." I was like, okay. It was just like with his father, with Suresh sir. It was so weird and surreal. So I go and I'm like, going up there and I'm like so nervous. And he's like, "So do you have," I said, "I directed this film." So he's like, "Do you have something?" And I just happened to have it on the laptop because I came back from the DI lab. He sees like the first 5 minutes of it. He stops it and he goes, "You directed this?" I was like, "Yeah." I mean, should I say yes or no? I was like, "Yes." He goes, "We have to see it in the theater." And so then he saw it and like just his appreciation was like a huge. It's almost like I got a sticker in school that says I was 8. It's that kind of validation. And all of the things that I thought were risky, whether it was the BGM, the title, the casting, which people had really like put me down about, like, you're this American taking this, like, you know, village film for the past like year or so. He appreciated it. So it's very overwhelming.
Did you kind of have these conversations about what the film is trying to convey itself? It's like, you know, there are many different interpretations one can draw from it. Those who want to look at it very rationally, there are those minor moments where you'll know why certain events happen the way they are and how they conclude. And you're happy. If you're a rational, you're happy.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who believes in the alternate point of view, then also you're happy because things happen in a different way, right? So did you kind of discuss about will people get it or how different people
what
will
was
react
interesting
to it?
is I remember after the first screening that we did, there was a small group that watched it in the studio. The discussion was not about whether you like the film or not, usually, which is what happens, was these concepts.
Yeah.
Like what one was believing. So like there was this smoking corridor where a bunch of people, after they watched the movie, they were smoking and standing. And oddly, it's right next to my office, so they don't see me really. But I can hear them.
You can hear.
Yeah. And it was just about their belief in God. This happened in their village. So, and some people, some were dissing that idea, some were really into that idea. But I realized it's a discussion, right?
Yeah.
It forms a discussion for various people with different thought process. Today it is Aparna in some manner. You're talking about a man you hate became a man you loved, or became a man you feared. And everyone reacted to the same man differently in different points. And they do that with themselves. So it's almost like it's a reflection of yourself, how you are looking at this, is what actually it is. And I feel like, okay, now this film is leading, a story this simple, is leading to so much discussion. So it's like, if it can do that. And I think today, what I'm not very fond of is the discussion only after a film is, okay, how much it collected or this or that. I'm like, that's of no relevance to you. No one's paying you that money, right?
True.
What's coming to you is a certain philosophy, a certain story, a certain character, a certain moment of your life that you're sharing with them. Or I think that less and less cinema is doing. And I feel Kothapallilo does that in a very interesting manner, especially towards the end of the film when everything kind of comes together.
Okay. And since you brought up the whole topic about the box office discussion itself, you know, incidentally, you've just celebrated 10 years of Bahubali.
Yes.
And then things have changed so much more for Indian cinema and even for Telugu cinema post that. Are we getting more fixated about numbers than ever before?
See, I mean, it's the easiest thing to follow, no? Like, see, feeling and what something has done to you is slightly more long term.
Yeah.
Like an effect of what a film that you most cherish at the moment changes according to time. Like you will see the same film very differently when you're young. You will understand some characters when you're older.
Yeah.
Like I remember this a lot actually. When I was younger, there were characters I hated because they were in the movies. And then those characters you will love over time.
Is there an example?
Like, okay, like Kotagaru is coming into my mind so much because he just passed. Right? And like he was over time, as a kid, I feared him. Watching him in movies, it was crazy, like it was wild. Then you started working with him, you loved him in such a different manner. And today, like, he's no more, but they form such a large part of your life.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, what is that meaning? It's not a box office meaning.
Yeah.
He's come through many cinema to you. And it's hard to measure these things, a feeling of what a film has done to you. But I think that's what good cinema is. It changes you, or it starts making you think. It makes a very comfortable person uncomfortable. It makes a uncomfortable person very comfortable. So I think that is hard to measure. So we just measure box office. It's easier. Race is easier. Like I ran faster than you or slower than you.
No, there's a scene in Krishna Mande Jagadgurum, right, where you and he have like a kind of a debate on, he's sticking to theatre as an art form and he believes that when you want to go abroad. Nobody is right or wrong over here because each generation has its own priorities and all that. But what he says is like so true. art and what it gives back to you is so different from a very selfish Gen Z mode of saying that, okay, let me just go ahead, make my living.
అది కళ, నిద్రలో కనేది, ఇది కళ, నిద్ర లేపేది. So I think those are things that they'll make. I'm saying those films kind of set you in life also. No? See, they were lessons that I was learning in my life as I go along. So I think all cinema, and see, that's hard to measure. What is that success? Okay, that film did well at that point in this, it collected this much money.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, that line today means much more than all of that. So I think that's what cinema needs to be debated about, and you need to discuss it or be with it in a much more meaningful way than here you go, it's box office. Because that's not changing your life. Right?
And the funny thing is, for all the talk about box office, most films crash after the opening weekend itself. It's multiple reasons for that, but very few hold on much beyond that.
See, it's like, I'd say in no other industry you get to hear numbers so frequently. Here every Friday there is a release. See, you don't want to follow some toothpaste selling millions of toothpaste in India. You don't like, that's not a fun thing to chat about, right?
Okay.
So I think cinema is the only thing that gives that that little gambling type high. Wow, this much money happened. I guess that's a certain what do you call it? Like a dopamine hit in some manner.
Okay.
Just to discuss numbers, and most of those numbers aren't true or anything. They're just poster type communication. If you had to really get into rechecking that stuff and it was illegal to put it, then trust me, a lot of numbers won't be out there.
All right. Coming back to Kothapalli, I also found it interesting that the music was by Mani Sharma, because it pays homage to the 90s hits as well, right? Tell me about the discussions that you had with him for the songs, because you know the song where the two girls are dancing, it's like so much fun. The beats are very energetic, and you also kind of reference a few older Telugu hits in that process.
The whole film references older. It's exactly what he already said. What Rana Garu already said. It's cinema is so impactful. Me growing up in America, my parents worked double shifts. I was pretty much on my own. That's at the time when there was no Telugu people. There was actually very little Indian people. And I keep saying this, I have no idea why I found Telugu cinema so much more amusing as a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old than cartoons. And so they became my friends. Like,
Do you remember the first Telugu film that you watched?
I don't know if it's the first one that I watched, but the first one I remember, my dad has a collection of old Telugu cinemas because he's a huge fan of the black and white era. From NTR Garu, like a huge fan of NTR Garu, to S.V. Rangarao Garu. So for some reason I had access to those. We had a wall unit, I guess in India they called it Bidava, you know, and all his videotapes and, you know, DVDs and all that stuff was there. We would go look for him. So the first one I saw that I don't know if I saw it, but the first one I remember is an old Krishna Garu movie called Patnavasam. And there was some, okay, I won't bore you with it, but I don't know why, I just found it absolutely amusing because like there's always that comedy villain in those movies, and the comedy villain was really funny. He would keep jumping up and down from the chandelier, and the hero would do it, which was Krishna Garu. I don't know why, I saw that like videotape until it like was bare. And my dad being a huge Telugu cinema fan, it's almost like I grew up your grandfather's stories without your grandfather. So he would tell me a lot of stories about Rana Daggubati and about his struggles as a producer. He actually brought that up when I was having some difficulties with this particular film. So anyway, so that's why cinema became like a portal to me. Now getting back to the whole like the Telugu cinema portal, there's a lot of references between Raghavendra Garu, Chiranjeevi Garu, K. Vishwanath Garu. And a lot of people would tell me, they're not going to get it, they're not going to get it. I'm like, no, I think the true Telugu cinema lovers will get it. And that's how it came up to Mani Sharma Garu. It was kind of like, I wanted that 90s nostalgia, which obviously he's synonymous with. But then, and he did the songs. But then when it came to the background score, once again, the background score is more about communicating the emotion of the scene. And that's about communicating what I feel the scene is about. And communication, especially artistic communication, is so hard because You have to share what's in your head with the other person. They have to see what you have. For that, I kind of went with a different composer, with Varun. So I think it balances out. You have that nostalgic songs, because that was the one step that I really wanted to do from Kanchirpalam and Uamashiv. I really wanted song and dance, and I kept it. And I know like there's like this idea of a film festival copy. I'm like, no. Either they accept it like this, or because this is Telugu cinema to me. So either they accept it like this, or they don't accept it. I don't want to change what I think is synonymous with Telugu cinema, our genre, our style, to somebody else's specifications. And I don't want to tell the stories that they want to hear, or they think that they. It seems like, I'm so sorry, I'm going to say this out loud, but it looks like certain film festivals are like, okay, we want this type of stories from this country. We want this type of stories from this country. We want this type of stories from this. It's like, whatever. You know, it's like, this is who we are. This is what I am. This is what, and so accept it or don't accept it. Ultimately for me, it's the audience. And if the audience accepts it and the audience encourages it, I think that this as an art form will continue to grow. And that's what we can expect as an industry,
Are there film festival plans for this film?
We definitely do post-release after.
Okay.
There'll be some direction it'll go, and I think the audience here first will tell us how it is.
Okay. Because I remember Care of Kanchirpalam went to New York International Film Festival, and then quite a few film festivals, right? Yeah.
So some festivals you have to be pre-release. That's something that we won't get, because for us our release date here is what is primary. But then post that we will definitely see us.
In the recent past, I've had a couple of directors whose films you've distributed tell me that their films might have reached a niche audience ultimately, their target audience, but then they were very thankful that you took it up for distribution. They said, when there is a production house like this, and when there's a name like Rana who's backing us, we know for sure that there will be a possibility to get it out in the theaters to spread the word, as well as OTTs will pick up our calls at least.
See, ultimately, whether it's the theaters today as the exhibitors, because I speak to them a lot, or the OTTs in some manner, they're looking for some validation. They need somebody to validate it, because the business is running in such a thin thread, right?
True.
You can't afford too much failure, and the cost of the big things have become very, very expensive. So the risk to reward ratio is like, you lose, then you lose everything. So it's been in that dicey space. So they want someone to take the credit to do it. And also in today's loud world, it's hard to promote these films. So I feel like there is a voice, there is a company in some form. But it's also data of where these people are. They're not the people that will come the first weekend and watch the film. They will probably watch it. Like the many films that we see have progressed week 2 and week 3.
True.
And it's about that 4 weeks run where there's not too much being heard around them, and a local city can hear that noise. We sit in Hyderabad, so there is a lot more happening for us. But say in a Nellore or a town that's smaller with cinema being a larger focus. If there's a bigger film around, it's very difficult for a film like this to get out. So I think also understanding timing of that market. Okay, here you go. Doing a bunch of screenings, like we've done screenings in Vizag. We moved around different places to do screenings to give you a sense of, okay, this is a film that an entire family will like to watch. Because also it's the first time a film like this is being put out. You don't have a real gauge of, okay, is this a 20 screen, 50 screen, 100 screen release? I think the people will actually keep telling us. So I think till the day of release, we'll be figuring out this. So I think, but it's fun. It's really fun, and like what you said, it's a film that the whole family can sit and watch in the theater and really have a good time, and can sit and discuss at home after.
Definitely, it's something which will stay with you. There will be a discussion after watching it. That's what I really liked about it, and it's also a genre bender. When there are genre benders, sometimes the tonal shift is like very jarring, but here it's not that way.
Nice,
so it starts off like a romantic comedy, and then it moves into a very different zone. And there's really a lot to think about.
So I think that's what cinema is, that you shouldn't expect what's happening.
Yeah.
Like recently I saw this film in America. I was walking on the street, I just saw the poster, it looked cool. I walked inside, it was Sinners.
Oh, okay.
If you watch the film, that's to me a genre bender, and I think that's also the reason why I said yes to this film.
Oh,
I was
really?
like, wow, this is a genre. Because I was watching Sinners, looked like a regular gangster action film, and then suddenly it becomes a zombie film. And in the theater, I was like, whoa, like you're scared, right?
Okay.
And I was like, that's what you want. You want cinema to take you to places that you don't expect. And I think Kothapallilo does that in a very simple and a beautiful manner. So yeah, all guns, all the best.
All the best to the film, and I really wish people come out and embrace this film as much as they did Kancharapalam and 35.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sangeetha. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rana. Thanks, Praveena.